are on to another edition of Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. The headlines: TCN partners with Echo Atlantic City on bulk power supply delivery. TCN engineers empowered to install transformers in Port Harcourt region. Experts seek stiffer penalties for electricity theft. Plus, interview session with the MD CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Guru Mohammed, on the procurement of fiber optics and the status of other transmission projects. Stay with us as we bring you more trending reports from this program. I am Onyema Iketubosin. The management team of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is partnering with developers of Echo Atlantic City in Lagos State to deliver bulk electricity to it. The partnership was further strengthened when the chairman of Echo Atlantic City, Mr. Ronald Shaguri, and his team visited TCN headquarters in Abuja recently. Here is the rest of the story.
Speaking during the visit, Mr. Shaguri said the city is meant to serve future generations and that the need for constant power supply was imperative.
Until I met Jai Muhammad, and he gave me the confidence that TCN can provide the power to Echo Atlantic.
Mr. Shaguri said he was confident that TCN can deliver bulk power to the city, as records show that there is excess power generation.
The collection is not enough to utilize all the power production that's being done in the country, and I congratulate this government for the excess power that they provided lately. So definitely, we want to take power from TCN.
He said the developer of the city has assured investors and other stakeholders that the power facility would be ready with a commitment to delivering constant bulk power to the place by the end of this year. Counting on TCN to help him attain this, he said,
"We need your help, we want your help, and I believe it could be done. So now I leave it for you to give me power before the end of the year. Otherwise, I have to look for alternative sources to please the client, not out of conviction. Me, I'm convinced 100% to go all the way with you. But if you cannot get it on time, I cannot fail a commitment to such an institution, which is the U.S. government. So now I'm pleading with you to see how you can give me power before the end of the year so I can meet my commitment. And the reason I gave my commitment because I have the full confidence that you can give the power."
Responding, the Managing Director, CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Guru Mohammed, who assured of sustaining the partnership, said Echo Atlantic City is reckoned to be one of the largest private investments in the world. He said the city was of significant value and impact to Lagos and the Nigerian economy.
And you have visited some of the places where this kind of development has taken place, like in Dubai and like in Cape Town, South Africa, like Durban. If you have visited those places, you will discover that all the shortcomings of those places has been taken care of in Echo Atlantic. If you look at the setback between the road and the houses and the offices, I have not seen this kind of setback in the entire movement that I've done in my life. Even in America, I've not seen this kind of setback. So this is all credit to Mr. Ronald Shaguri, who is with us here. So we, TCN, we are ready to partner with him to ensure that we supply Echo Atlantic.
Mr. Mohammed said the eligible customer regulation in power sector will enable TCN to wheel power directly to the city to ensure there is uninterrupted electricity supply in the area. He said,
"We believe that that will accelerate the development of Echo Atlantic, and vis-a-vis it will lead to the development of Nigeria." That is our belief. So we believe that this is a very good venture, and it's an important venture, and it's one of the most important things Nigeria has undertaken. And we are willing to work with you to ensure that we deliver this project within the time that you want. We're going to work with you.
The head transmission service provider, TSP, at TCN, Engineer Victor Adewumi, said TCN had envisaged supplying bulk electricity to the city and had commissioned a study on how the city can be fed. He said,
I want to thank my MD for being futuristic, but even before some of us here know what is happening, he called us that even though the people who are the owners of Eco Atlantic can supply their power, but he knew there is no way the power, that they can bring to Eco Atlantic by themselves can be cheaper than the one coming from the national grid. So he on his own committed us to start study on how Eco Atlantic can be fed. Of course, that study has reached an advanced stage. Of course, we have so many options. So to supply Eco Atlantic is not a problem for us.
The General Manager, Lagos Region, Engineer Lamina Adebola, said he has visited the facility on an assessment on how TCN can supply bulk power to it.
It's one venture that any good management like ours should be able to support with all our efforts. And before the consultant was engaged to study how to power Eco Atlantic, we from the region, we did our own little studies on our own. We did some studies because we are very enthusiastic about getting supply to Eco Atlantic. And we've been meeting the consultant and meeting, I think we met several times also. And we are ready to cooperate and ensure that we deliver power to Eco Atlantic as fast as possible.
As the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, turns its focus on building capacity, the Acting Assistant General Manager Transmission at Port Harcourt Sub-Region, Engineer Johnson Ikuje, said many more engineers have been empowered to undertake tasks that were contracted in the past.
Engineer Ikuje, who spoke in an interview with Power Wheel at the 132-33 kilovolt Port Harcourt Central Transmission Substation, lauded the TCN management for empowering young engineers in the company on skills for installing power transformers and doing other technical jobs. He said,
we have benefited at Yenagoa of 90 MVA, and there are so many breakers they have given us as in-house to install, we install. So that one really benefit our young ones, because that idea is very good because of our upcoming engineers. Given to the contractors, at least they have installed, most of them understand how to install transformer now. And we are just employed 2013. They can handle installation of breaker, transformer, various capacity of transformers now.
Speaking further, Engineer Ikuje said the facility under the Port Harcourt sub-region has 3 units of 60 MVA transformers.
We have 3 number 60 MVA. You can see the 132 kV switchyard here, and the 33 kV switchyard is here. We have 11 outgoing feeder at the 33 kV side.
With about 180 MVA transformer capacity at the substation, Engineer Ikuje also said the transmission facility has a vast coverage area.
We have 18 feeder DC. We feed up to Rumosi, Port Harcourt Town, even part of LL1 here we feed within Port Harcourt Metropolis. We have another station in the Port Harcourt town here. We call it Z4. It also have almost 4 transformers there. And the capacity is the same with this one. Then we have LL1. LL1 is not under us, but we maintain it. It's owned by the River State government. Then the second one owned by the River State government, we call it Romosi 132/33 kV substation. We are supplying Trans Amadi. We supply Romosi, Elekaya. We supply almost half of the Port Harcourt town is being supplied from this station.
Speaking about the challenges at the substation and the region and the sub-region, he said there was need for operational vehicles and more spare parts to continually service various substations in the sub-region. He, however, said the regional staff are using creative means to tackle these challenges. The AGM said although TCN and the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company, PHEDC, have regular interface, sustained peaking of energy load by the DISCO was still a challenge.
We have a cordial relationship here. We meet often, twice a week. So we don't have challenges with them. We work hand in hand with them. The only problem we have with them, they have with our system operation, is that picking of load. They don't pick loads.
Seeking critical ways to combating electricity theft for effective metering became the discussion point for many power sector experts at the June edition of the Next Tier Power Dialogue in Abuja. The experts agreed there was need for stiffer penalties to combat electricity theft.
The June 2019 dialogue premised on the need to discuss implementable measures against energy theft, even as new meters are rolled out across electricity distribution franchise areas. A major action point at the end of the session was the need to review and implement legislation against electricity theft to ensure penalties for meter bypass are commensurate to the crime. The moderator of this edition and enabling environment lead of the USAID-sponsored Power Africa Nigeria Power Sector Program, NPSP, Mr. Colin McAllister, said the objective of the session were to analyze the readiness of the meter asset providers' MAP implementation against energy theft and discuss implementable measures against meter bypassing.
We're here today to discuss the importance of metering and loss reduction that we know afflicts so many of the discos in the sector at large, and try to see if we can come up with some ideas for how we might be able to remedy some of the issues affecting the sector.
The managing director of Yola Electricity Distribution Company, Engineer Mustafa Baba Umara, said his firm was making huge efforts in tackling energy theft, especially meter bypass.
Keep on checking the books of our marketers, see what people are they doing. All this can be we are achieving them one by one through our intensive customer enumeration and continuous monitoring of the system.
In his submission, the Chief Executive Officer of Integrated Power Limited, Mr. Emeka Nwabweze, said his firm is one of the MAPs approved for DISCOs by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC. He called for stiffer penalties for energy theft and provision of incentives for MAPs for meter maintenance.
If you pay for your meter today, the regulation says within 10 days you get your meter. And if the meter malfunctions at any point in time within that period, the 10-year period that we're supposed to manage, you get a replacement within 2 days. That's what the regulation says. Okay? And none of us wants to go wrong foul of the regulation because there's all manner of remedies around it. We are having to provide all manner of guarantees. We are providing performance in bonds and things like that. So nobody wants to have this performance on coding.
Here are comments on our feedback segment for this edition. On our Facebook page, we have the following comments. TCN posted a report on how it is enforcing transparency in procurement processes on Facebook. This post got 3 comments and 8 shares. In a reaction, Kerry Ete posted this: "Let's keep practicing the change we preach for a better Nigeria. Kudos TCN. TCN seems to be improving. Let's keep it up," says Abdul Baki A. Ahmed, another Facebook user. Chidi Ukwa, in a commendation post, said, "Congratulations to you, sir, Mr. Lazarus Angbazo, the President, General Electric Nigeria, for winning the bid. Kudos to you guys." Shortly after the Benin substation fire incidents, TCN continually gave updates with one including the restoration of all TCN transformers to full service for Benin Disco to resume power supply. It got several comments and 32 shares. Some are: a Facebook user identified as Engineer Mutalib Boladale posted this, "Well done." Still commending TCN, Usman Iya says, "Well done. I wish them all the best." On the Twitter page, TCN tweeted an update on the fire outbreak incident at the Benin transmission substation. It attracted some comments, thus: "The truth?" At Iskola_2002, a tweeter said, "Disco will kill you people with their poor protective devices." Sunday Kanshu at Sunday_Kanshu tweeted this: "Thanks for telling the public what happened. It's actually a good news for petrol sellers." At Idomark2, another Twitter user has this comment: "For the avoidance of doubt, please tell us the discos that dropped load." You mean we don't have a reservoir? This was a reaction from Prince Chris, at Prince Chris, as he asked of spinning reserve that would help stabilize the grid. TCN management and the team of General Electric's Grid Solution Limited recently had a meeting in Abuja. The post on Twitter drew reactions. Reacting, at Olaposi the Great tweeted this: "They should also bid for a distribution company, please." Okohua at CS Okohua, another user of this platform, said, "Proud to be an ex-staff of this wonderful organization." We appreciate your comments. Please keep commenting as we do our best to serve you better. The procurement of the fiber optics has begun. This will create the platform for the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to have a robust supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA system for effective grid monitoring. This and more are some of the disclosures in this informative interview with the Managing Director, CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed. The details. With the ongoing procurement of fiber optics for critical transmission lines, what are the other processes for attaining SCADA?
In modern electricity, you are supposed to have what they call smart grid. Smart grid is actually automation, automating the grid in such a way that you will have what they call functional SCADA, and there's also going to be teleprotection working. So this is actually an effort to lead us to automating the system. So the SCADA is, the OGB or the fiber optic is for the purpose of ensuring that we are able to launch the automation of the network. So that is the purpose. So you know, on that note, you will see that if we automate the system, first of all, you will be in Oshobo and you will see all the network. That means you will see substations, what is happening in Meduguri, what is happening all over the place. And all the players in the market that are connected to grid will be seen, which means if anybody violated the grid code, the SCADA will register that, and that will be the basis for which the person will be penalized. So that is the so it's just the communication aspect that we are going to use to automate the system.
What is the status of the Abuja feeding scheme at present?
That project is the one that is financed by the African French Development Agency. Is actually that project is going to put 5 substations Abuja, 3 132 kV substation in the following locations at Gwarempa, at Lokogoma, and at Kuje. Then it will also have 2 330 kV substations, which will be located at New Apo and also at Westman, that is Lugbe. Now that project has been the procurement has been completed, the compensation for right of way have been paid, and advance payment for all the contractors has been paid. In reality, all the contracts are effective. So the contractors are working. And the good thing about that project is that the cost estimate for the project was 155 million for the project. But after the evaluation process, we had a saving of $25 million on the way we have been doing business before. And another unique thing about that project is that for the first time in our procurement process, we had a situation where for the 6 lots that are involved in that project, each of the 6 lots, the publicly announced price became the lowest evaluated bidder. So every bidder bid according to the scope. There was no bidder that did not bid out of the scope. That is the reason why every of the lowest price became the lowest evaluated bidder. So that project, we are happy that we have contractors, and like before, who wait for advance payment actually. They started work immediately we signed the contract. So we believe that this project will be delivered on time. I didn't tell you that the project will also build transmission lines. It will connect those 5 substations that I tell you in Abuja, and the 330 kV line will come from Lafia to Abuja also. So Abuja will now have 3 sources of supply of 330 kV line. That is Jakuta, Abuja, Shiroro, Abuja, and also Lafia, Abuja.
What is the role of TCN in ensuring a robust power sector in Nigeria?
Our work is to supply bulk power. We don't distribute electricity. Electricity distribution is done by the 11 electricity discos across the country. Our own is to supply bulk power, the discos to distribute it. So the whole aim is to provide the necessary redundancy in line with what we call N-1 across the country. So the transmission rehabilitation expansion program, which we are implementing, which have aspect of donor-funded project, which has aspect that we are using in-house capacity to install equipment and transformers across the country, which also have aspect that we are also working to do what they call quality of the power. Before now, nobody talk about quality of power. I'm sure you have never had something like frequency control before, or something like spinning reserve. For the first time, you will see that this time around, we are attacking this. We are not only looking at the expansion of the grid, but we are also looking at the quality of power. So this is what I want to tell you. So we are making significant progress in trying to stabilize the grid. But as we are doing this, we are working to put N-1 across the country to ensure that the grid is stable. But all we are doing, only 18 customers are connected directly to the grid across the country, apart from the discos. Okay. So it means that there will be no impact on people may not even see what we are doing. And that's why we have been calling for capitalization of the discos, because even the 731 interfaces we have with the discos, only 421 are fully protected by the side of the discos. What I mean is that 316 out of the 737 interfaces we have the discos, our transmission breaker, that is our 33 kV breaker, become the primary breaker for 415 customers, which is not ideal. And that leads to many tripping of our breakers, and when they continue to trip like that, sometimes they give way. And that leads to affecting some of our transformers. We are losing a lot of transformers as a result of that. Therefore, it's very, very important that as government has taken a decision to capitalize transmission, the distribution companies also have to be capitalized.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Don't go away. We are glad you followed through on this edition. Join us next week on this same station for another edition of Power Wheel. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Onyema Iketubosin.